Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions concerning this watch. Today we're discussing a 2024 launch that may feature the most beautiful dial ever enclosed in a Grand Seiko watch. And while that is subjective, I can tell you that objectively, this is a very striking aesthetic. From the Evolution 9 collection, you're looking at the SLGA0250. This is an incredible, naturally inspired emerald dial in a 40mm high-intensity titanium case. So the model features a 40mm diameter, 12.1mm thickness, and there are two different ways to measure the lug-to-lug. Just the case, which is going to be 47.2mm, or with the end links to the bracelet, which I find more realistic because that's how you're going to wear it. That is 51.1 from end link to end link with a 22mm spacing between the lugs. This dial is inspired by the Atera Valley in Nagano Prefecture, where Grand Seiko spring drive watches are made. And everything external is nicely subdued. You can see a combination of polish and satin on the bracelet. And because this is a Grand Seiko titanium bracelet, they always insist on using pins and sleeves for those bracelets. It's a system that prevents the stripping of flathead titanium screws. I understand their rationale, and that is why they use pin sleeves on the titanium bracelets only. You can see that there are some intermediate sized links in here in case you do find yourself in between sizes. And then there's a thick gauge titanium single folding clasp with a triple finish externally and a twin trigger release system that ensures it only opens up when you want it to open up. Now, rolling around to the case, you can see that the form is recognizable as a Grand Seiko. There's elements of 9S, 44GS, and others in this case design, but it is an original effort with a combination of satin and polish. Try to remove my fingerprints as much as possible here. And of course, the polish features the tin plate manual polishing technique known as Zaratsu, which is executed on Zalitz machines. And the tin plate polish creates a mirror smooth surface. It takes 3 years to master this art. So this is a true hand-finished watch, a rarity in this price class if we're talking about Swiss watches, but this is proudly made in Japan. We've got a screw-down crown with Media Blast, a vintage-style GS logo, and a combination of polish and media. So we have Media Blast, polish, and satination all on one watch. 100-meter water resistance thanks to the screw-down crown. And then the dial sits inside a bezel that's faceted with polish and satin. We have a slight box section to the sapphire. And I would say Grand Seiko dials are co-equally with Rolex the best quality dials in the mainstream luxury class. But whereas Rolex achieves that primarily by mechanical means and robotic consistency, Grand Seiko does it by extensively manual means, including hand faceting, polishing, and satination of all the elements like the logo, the date frame, the indices, and the hands. And these are little pieces of micro sculpture that once handcrafted are then placed and caulked by hand. Now this is the latest generation of spring drive 9R A2, which means the once divisive power reserve indicator is instead on the case back. On the dial, you still get that uncanny glide, and it is a true glide. No start, no stop, no tick, no tock, because spring drive uses a unidirectional governing wheel and electromagnetic forces to regulate the discharge of spring energy. All of those wheels move only in one direction, and thus the mainspring is directly geared to the hands, and an electromagnetic system connected to a quartz oscillator governs the rate that the mainspring can unfurl. And I should mention, there are no batteries, there are no capacitors, there are no stepper motors in here. It's spring drive, because all the induced electrical current and all of the motion that you see is created by the spring itself. Now, this generation of spring drive is across the board accurate to 10 seconds a month versus 15 on the previous generation of spring drive. You have a hacking or stop seconds function, and then there is also a quick set for the date in case you need to rapidly cycle the date. And one choice they made that I adore is that they used a very serify font for these numerals. Taking a look at the case back, we'll get a look at the reverse side of this 9S A2. This is a twin barrel spring drive, which means power reserve goes from the previous 72 hours up to 5 days. The power reserve indicator is now on the case back, And you could see that unidirectional governing wheel creating its electromagnetic forces that supply electrical current to the quartz timer and mechanical force to the hands. There's a lovely fan-style calibration system for that blued hand that represents the power reserve. We have blued screws, we have media blasted surfaces, we have polished bevels. We also have polished jewel and screw sinks, which I find quite attractive. And everything about this watch is a Grand Seiko original. It took from 1977 to 2005 to bring automatic winding spring drive to market, and it remains a landmark breakthrough in watchmaking technology with the soul of mechanical, in that it's watchmaker built, watchmaker adjusted, and lifetime watchmaker serviceable, but it's also quartz accurate. Now this dial, of course, designed to reference the Atera Valley in the summer. It features a combination of texture and smoked emerald tones, making it unique and beautifully beguiling to inspect with the eye or under a loupe. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.